With every passing day, the tensions between the two superpowers is slowly rising. A new arms race may already be underway as Russia flaunts its nuclear arsenal. US is showcasing its long-range nuclear missiles. Our next story brings together the developments which could have grave consequences for the world.
The silence has been shattered. The United States has just tested a long-range intercontinental ballistic missile, the Minuteman III, a colossal weapon designed to deliver a catastrophic payload to any city on Earth. This launch follows President Trump's chilling pledge to restart nuclear testing after a 30-year pause, sending an unequivocal signal across the Atlantic. The Minuteman III is an ICBM. It's part of America's nuclear triad. The missile can be launched from land-based silos, submarines, or bombers. It has a range of 13,000 kilometers with a maximum speed of over 28,000 kilometers per hour. Moscow says that Washington is actively seeking to destabilize the long-established nuclear balance and wants to possess new intercontinental weapons. Russian President Vladimir Putin says that he would consider resuming nuclear tests if the United States did so.
As I stated in the address to the Federal Assembly in 2023, if the United States or other states parties to the relevant treaty conduct such tests, then Russia must also take appropriate reciprocal actions.
Putin's order isn't rhetoric. Russia has showcased its next-generation superweapons, including the nuclear-powered cruise missile Burevestnik and the Poseidon underwater nuclear drone, both designed for global strike capabilities without warning.
The United States Armed Forces.
While neither side has detonated a nuclear warhead since the 1990s, these developments mark a sharp escalation. Analysts warn that this could undo decades of arms control, risking a new arms race, where China could take advantage.
And a lot of Chinese experts and officials have pointed out that China might be at a disadvantage in terms of knowledge of its arsenal and weapons designs because it just doesn't have as much testing data. And so if the taboo against nuclear testing was broken, if there was a return to more nuclear tests, China stands to gain way more from this than the United States would.
What's unfolding right now is not simply a showdown of arsenals. It's a high-stakes game of signaling. Trump insists that the US must keep pace with rival powers. Putin argues that Russia simply will not be left vulnerable in a world where missile defenses and strategic shifts threaten the old balance. Both sides are flexing. Both sides are bracing. And in the middle of it all is a simple truth. The threshold for nuclear testing, once dormant, may be cracking. Bureau Report, WION. World is One.
Joining us live on the broadcast is Dr. Paul Dorfman, Bennett Scholar, Bennett Institute, University of Sussex, member of the Irish Government Radiation Protection Advisory Committee and chair of the Nuclear Consulting Group. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Dorfman. It seems that both Washington and Moscow appear to be flexing their nuclear capabilities again. Do you see this as symbolic posturing or something more of a cause for concern?
Well, it's almost amusing to understand that this started as a mistake. or a misunderstanding. Kremlin started to discuss nuclear weapons drills, which can't, under any circumstance, be interpreted as tests. Now, Trump seems to have misunderstood this fact and has taken these weapons drills, Kremlin's PR of weapons drills, as an idea that they may be weapons testing. So Trump then responds with this idea that he may be testing, and now Kremlin says it will conduct live weapons tests if the US does. So it seems it's a sort of a game of quick draw Russian roulette, saber rattling. Meanwhile, the UN says that testing can't be permitted under any circumstances, and China is urging respect for the global ban on nuclear testing. So where we are now is that Russia may be prepping testing on the Arctic archipelago. And meanwhile, as discussed, Putin develops nuclear-powered cruise missiles and Poseidon underwater torpedoes. But it's not unusual for Russia to flaunt its nuclear powers, its nuclear weaponry. And both of those weapons are basically Armageddon weapons. They're too powerful to use unless you're happy to destroy the world. They're second strike retaliatory weapons. So their military value is ambiguous. And it's understood that Russia is facing considerable technical challenges for reliable performance of these new weapons and their nuclear propulsion units. So in a sense, it's the timing of these announcements by Russia and the US, not their content, that's noteworthy. And it kind of pans out into the US-Russian interaction over Ukraine and its cancelled summit. In other words, Putin may be trying to convince Trump that Russia is still powerful. And it has to be said that these nuclear armaments discussions are essentially a reflection of their weakness in terms of their conventional forces.
Mm. And with tensions escalating and there are new technologies entering the field, how prepared is the world politically and technologically to prevent a potential nuclear miscalculation at this point?
It's a very difficult question to answer, of course. Nuclear miscalculation is always on the cards, and it's interesting to note that this recent series of events started with a miscalculation. As discussed, Russia only signaled a nuclear weapons drill, and to which Trump seems not to have understood. There seems to be sort of a cognitive dissonance going on here, and he understood that as an actual nuclear weapons test, which is absolutely not the case. So this is perhaps indicative of this kind of Russian roulette that these two leaders seem to be playing with each other. But as discussed, despite all of the fog, the night and fog around these kinds of issues, as discussed, it's not really the content really that one needs to be concerned about here, but it's the timing. And the timing comes at a certain point in the Ukraine conflict, also at a time that both leaders are on the back foot. So it's a composite, complex interaction. Now, does that diminish the nuclear threat? No, it doesn't. What it does is, in fact, unveil the complex and uncertainty of the nuclear weapons arena in which we all find ourselves in.
Thank you so much for that thorough analysis and helping us understand where we stand right now. Dr. Paul Dorfman, I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you.